a celebration of Bill Walsh's life. Now, Dr. Harry Edwards.
I want to first extend my sincerest condolences, and those of my family, to the Walsh family, and particularly to Bill's lovely and courageous wife, Jerry, to his children, Elizabeth and Craig, to his grandchildren, and to his sister Maureen and her family, who have been so caring and supportive over the course of these difficult times. I also would like to thank you as well. As a sports sociologist, perhaps no one outside of immediate family is more acutely aware than I am of the contributions and tremendous sacrifices made by a coach's family during the course of his career in the National Football League. Thank you so very much for sharing Bill with us, with the San Francisco 49ers family, with this league, and with the sports world, collegiate and professional, over these many years. Approximately 3 years ago, Bill asked me to meet with him in his office at the 49ers. During the course of that brief meeting, almost out of nowhere, he said, "I want you to speak at my memorial service." I didn't know exactly how to take that statement then. So after a span of awkward silence, I responded, "Bill, I'll speak at your memorial service if you will speak at mine." To which he replied, "You got a deal." Then about 3 months ago, he called me to say that I'd better start work on that memorial presentation. By then, of course, I was aware of his situation. We had talked on numerous occasions by phone and over lunch, and he had always insisted upon being absolutely frank and open about his circumstances. So on this occasion, I replied that I would commit something to paper for his review to make sure that I was headed in the right direction in covering what he would like to have said. He simply laughed and replied, "I don't need to see it. Surprise me." Bill, my friend, my brother, in the wake of these all too cursory sentiments expressed in celebration of a life well lived, I hope that you will be surprised. It has been said that the only true measure of a life well lived is the positive and constructive impact of that life upon other lives, and that the only valid measure of that impact is the size of the hole left in our lives in the wake of that person passing. And so it is with the passing of Bill Walsh. The magnitude of the hole left in our lives and hearts is incalculable. Bill was not only a genius of football organization and strategy, he was a giant. He was a man who stood astride the football culture in America like a colossus for 10 years, a man whose vision, initiatives, and achievements reverberate down through the seasons and far beyond the sports arena. Bill had an inexhaustible capacity for inclusion. He counted among his friends not only coaches and other sports associates, but admirals and artists, astronauts and activists, the poor no less than the privileged and powerful, militants who challenged the establishment, and the mighty who controlled it. He walked with generals, senators, secretaries of state, governors, and presidents, but he never lost his common touch. As to his politics, when I was once asked if I would characterize Bill as a liberal, a conservative, or an independent, my response was yes. Bill's achievements as a football coach and administrator are legendary and duly chronicled in numerous books and documentaries and memorialized in trophy cases and halls of fame from the Bay Area to Canton, Ohio. His imprint and influence on the sport he loved is both deep and indelible. But there's more, so much more, to the legacy of Bill Walsh than could ever be captured through a recounting of his development of the West Coast offense, or of his collegiate and professional football achievements and championships, or of his extensive tree of coaching protégés who themselves so often have gone on to become successful head coaches. We are all aware of how Bill took a franchise that had won 2 games in 1979 and 6 games in 1980 and turned it into an organization that went 13-3 on the way to a Super Bowl championship in 1981. Far less appreciated and acknowledged was the impact of the 49ers' Super Bowl XVI victory more generally. Between 1979 and 1981, the Bay Area and the city of San Francisco were reeling in the wake of 3 crushing developments. There had been the assassination of a popular mayor and a visionary city supervisor. There had occurred the incomprehensibly tragic deaths of hundreds of San Francisco and Bay Area citizens at Jonestown. And there was the emergence within the San Francisco community of a new disease that incapacitated and killed its victims in the prime of life. Many wondered aloud if the city whose motto is, "The city that knows how," had lost its way, if it could ever regain its civic and cultural confidence. Into that vacuum stepped Bill Walsh and his 1981 champion San Francisco 49ers. They gave the city and the region something to cheer about, something to be confident about, something to take pride in, something that declared as emphatically as a Ronnie Lott hit that even in these dark times, working together, nothing was beyond reach. That together we have the capacity not only to rise from such tragedies, but to triumph, to conquer. The theme of what we can accomplish together ran through Bill's thinking like the strategic feature of a game plan. Early on in my tenure at the 49ers, Bill called me aside during one preseason practice and pointed out his starting offensive unit. Bubba Parrish and Keith Farnhurst at tackles, Guy McIntyre and Jesse Sapolo at guards, Randy Cross at center, John Frank at tight end, Dwight Clark and Jerry Rice at wide receiver, Joe Montana at quarterback with Roger Craig and Tom Rathman in the backfield. And then he said something that at the time I thought was very curious for a statement coming from a football coach.